How's it going, everybody? It's Barry with Vulcan Glass Art Studio. Today's going to be the fourth and final project in our Intro to Marbles series, the Air Trap Marble. This is going to use many of the same techniques that you used in a flower compression marble from our last video, but again, adding a little bit more control. As always, all the glass and tools that you need for this project are on screen, so like the video, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. First step in your Air Trap marble is the same as your flower marble from the previous video, and that is just to gather up a whole bunch of glass. You want to gather up as much as you want for the size of your marble, because whatever your initial gather is pretty much going to be the size of your end product. So this kind of barbaric looking device over here is the Vin Pin that I had listed as optional in the equipment list. If you do not have a Vin Pin, then when we get to that step, you can actually just poke individual holes with the tungsten pick. It'll get the same effect. The Vin Pin is just quicker, and I absolutely love the tool. I think it does a great job for, what it does, so I will be showcasing it today. I also make a lot of these, so this kind of hastens the process quite a bit. Alright, so once we've got a decent sized gather, we're going to go ahead and turn it into a disc on the marber. So set it down and then stamp around it with the smusher. And now you're going to heat the bottom of the disc, bring your Vin Pin over, and you want the center pin to be in the very center of your disc. So set it and smush around. And now you can straighten the disc by putting it on your angle marker. So at that stage, if you have your disc, heat the bottom of your disc, take the tungsten pick and just poke. But you can see why, with that number of holes, it's much quicker with the Vin Pin. So now you're going to take your first color, find the center hole, fill that, and then start going around in a ring, filling each of those little holes with color. You want to leave as little color as possible, but this is the step that actually traps the little air bubbles in your air trap marble. So I'm going to do the center hole in 2 rings. Then grab your secondary color and do 1 or 2 rings beyond that. I'm going to do just 1 because we're almost at the edge of the marble. Once you've got all the holes filled, we're going to do the implosion process very similar to how you did it with the flower marble. However, this time you're trying to draw it down in one clean step. You don't want to press it on the marber, because every time you do that, it's going to cause the little tendrils of color to flare out, and that's not what you want. You want them to be nice and straight. So the main difference is that you want to make sure you get a good amount of heat on the very center of this piece, and focus your heat a little bit more on the edge of your disc and less on the upward, the upper angle of the inside of your cup. You don't really want to create a cup the same way you do in the flower. So focusing on the edge, and also notice I don't have my hand up like that. I'm putting my hand a little bit more level. That'll help get it to condense down without necessarily creating a huge cup at the bottom. And it's okay to even bring your hand down at a downward angle to make sure that that cup doesn't get too extreme, because you don't want to have to reach really far in there with a 4mm rod and try to pull it out at the end. So take your time in this step, don't try to rush it. If the cup starts to form, don't be afraid to just hit the inside as best you can with a lot of flame. And also don't be afraid to keep hitting the outside rim. Keep it from getting wobbly as best you can, but even the front part of this disc will help push the bubble that way towards the base of your glasses, which is what you're looking to try to do. Alright, once you got it down to pretty much a marble shape, and you can see all your color sticking in there, you probably can't, but you'll be able to when you're doing the piece. You want to do just like you did in the previous project. Hit the inside, reach in with a 4mm, and pull it out. And a lot of times, because this isn't a totally even process, it won't grab the whole center. So just reach in again and make sure you pull it down, because you want to get rid of all of the color that's on the outside of the glass, leaving only the color that's on the inside of the glass in your final piece. Once you've got that, you can kind of see the little tentacles of color, so it looks kind of like a sea anemone. We're going to go ahead and heat the whole piece up, and now comes the shaping part. Focus on the base of the piece, right where that little curve of glass is, and once that curve has worked itself out and your whole piece is nice and warm, go into the marble mold, one that's clearly too large for your piece, and then heat it up again. And go in the marble mold again. So just like the previous video, this one's a little bit smaller than the cup that I want to use for it, so I'm going to add a little bit of glass to it. Alright, so once you've got it pretty much to a marble, I'm going to go ahead and add the handle to the bottom and melt off our 12mm main handle. So I'm using 6mm. Do a nice cold seal, and then melt off your piece. Again, if your piece is the right size, melt it off right here. Mine is not quite the right size, so I'm going to melt it off a little bit higher. And now we're going to melt that in. You want to heat the spot right where the marble hits where the rod was, so it's that angle. And as you melt it in, you're waiting for that to kind of disappear, and then you'll go right back into the marble mold. like that. Just kind of looks like a little egg. You're ready to go ahead and put it into the mold. And change the angle that you're holding the piece, angle that it's hitting the mold. And make sure you heat it up after it hits the mold so you can get rid of any creases that are left over on the piece. Now we're going to change the angle. Doing another 6mm cold seal. Heat up the handle, not the piece. Let it cool for a second. Touch the two together, and then tap it off while your second handle is still warm. Now only work the bottom half of your piece. And you can see many of the steps, once you get done actually adding your color and design, are very similar. All marbles have to be turned into marbles. Alright. So now we want to take it off the rods altogether. So first we're going to add a cold seal of 4mm. Touch to the bottom. Tap your other handle off while this is still warm. Now you want to focus your heat only on that spot, on the very bottom. You don't want to hit your 4mm rod at all with the flame. Run it through the mold, make sure it's nice and spherical. Then you can let your whole piece cool for a second. Set it in your mold, tap off the last handle. Find that little scar that's left over. Make sure you hit not just the scar, but the spot all around it so that it smoothly flows into the rest of the piece. And there you got your marble. Toss that in the kiln, and you're on to the next one. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and then if you want to support the channel further, check us out on Patreon at Vulcan Glass TV. I'll see you in the next one.